They say when you play with fire, you get burned. But no one tells you what it feels like when the fire looks like love. Or what it costs when you light that match yourself. My name's Aaron, and I used to think I was a good man. Or at least, good enough. I had my flaws, sure. But I didn't think I was the kind of person who could destroy someone. Until I did. And I'll carry that weight for the rest of my life. I met Lily when I was 24. She had this quiet confidence, the kind that didn't need attention but got it anyway. We met at a coffee shop. She was reading a book I loved, and I used that as my excuse to start a conversation. She smiled, not flirty, not fake, just warm, real. We clicked. The kind of click that makes you forget the world for a while. We started dating a week later. Lily wasn't the loudest person in the room, but she was the one people listened to when she spoke. She was kind without being soft, strong without being hard. She made me feel seen, like I mattered in ways I didn't know I craved. We moved in together after a year. It was fast. But it felt right. I was in marketing. Always on the go, always around people. She worked from home as a writer, quiet, focused. We were opposites in rhythm, but it worked. She grounded me. I should have held onto her with both hands. Instead, I let her slip, and I was the one who pushed. It started small. Always does. I met Harper at a networking event. She was the kind of woman who drew attention like gravity. Loud, confident, unapologetic. The opposite of Lily in every way. We talked. Laughed. I felt that rush, the kind you get when someone looks at you like they want to know your worst parts and kiss them anyway. I didn't cheat that night. Not physically. But something cracked open. I told myself it was harmless. Just flirting. Just texts. Until it wasn't. The first time it happened, I was drunk. Lily was out of town visiting her sister. Harper invited me over. Just to hang. I told myself I wasn't going to do anything. But I did. And the worst part? I didn't feel guilt right away. I felt alive. Like I was taking something I deserved. Like I was still young. Still desired. Still in control. The guilt came later. It came in the way Lily hugged me when I came home and said she missed me so much it hurt. It came when I saw her washing dishes, humming under her breath, completely unaware of the man I was becoming. But instead of stopping, I buried it. I told myself it was just a phase. That I loved Lily. Harper was just a distraction. I convinced myself of that lie for 6 months. 6 months. I lied to Lily every single day. When she asked how my meetings went. When she touched my face and whispered I love you. When we made love and I closed my eyes, hoping she couldn't see the truth behind them. Harper never pressured me to leave Lily. That made it easier. She knew the game. I think, in some twisted way, we both knew it wouldn't last. But that didn't stop me. And then, everything changed. It was a Tuesday. Ordinary. Forgettable. I came home late. Said it was traffic. She believed me. I went to shower. When I came out, Lily was sitting on the couch, phone in her lap. My phone. Unlocked. "Aaron," she said. Her voice was calm. Too calm. I froze. My heart dropped. "Who's Harper?" I didn't answer. What could I say? She looked up at me. Her eyes weren't angry. They weren't even hurt. They were empty. And that scared me more than anything. "I read everything," she said. She didn't yell. She didn't throw things. She didn't cry. She just stood up, handed me the phone, and walked into the bedroom. I followed her, stammering, reaching for something, anything. "Lily, it didn't mean anything. I swear." "Stop," she said. She didn't even raise her voice. Just one word. And I shut up. She turned, stared at me. "I gave you everything, Aaron. And you threw it away like it was nothing." I opened my mouth again, but she shook her head. I don't want your excuses. I want you out. That hit like a bullet. What? She looked at me like I was a stranger. You heard me. I packed a bag. She didn't say a word. Didn't watch. Just sat on the bed, staring at the wall. As I left, I stopped at the door. Lily, I said. I'm sorry. She didn't even blink. I know, she whispered. And then I was gone. The next few days were a blur. I crashed on a friend's couch. Harper tried to reach out. I blocked her. I didn't want her. Not really. All I wanted was to go back. Undo it. But you don't get to ask for grace after you burn the bridge yourself. 2 weeks later, I came back to the apartment. Just to talk. Lily answered the door. She looked different. Cold. Still. Aaron, she said. You shouldn't be here. Please, I said. Just 5 minutes. She stepped aside. I sat on the couch. She stood. I made the biggest mistake of my life, I said. I know that. I don't expect you to forgive me, but... You don't get to say that, she interrupted. I looked up. You made 6 months of mistakes. Every day. You chose this. And now you have to live with it. Her voice didn't tremble. I did. I'm not here to hurt you, I said. She smiled. That's the thing, Aaron, she said, leaning in close. You already did. Now it's my turn. I blinked. What does that mean? She just walked me to the door and said, goodbye, and closed it behind me. I didn't understand what she meant then, but I would. Very, very soon. It started slowly, almost imperceptibly. At first, it was silence. Lily disappeared from my life like a ghost. No messages, no calls, no posts, nothing. I tried checking her socials. Gone. I called from another number. Blocked. A week passed. Then 2. Then 4. I started thinking maybe she really just walked away. Maybe that was it. I couldn't stop thinking about her. I thought about her laugh in the morning, how she used to hide a smile behind her coffee mug. About the way she used to leave sticky notes on my laptop that said, "You've got this." How she kissed my temple before I left for work, every single morning. I missed her in ways I didn't think possible. I kept telling myself that was the punishment, the loss. That was the cost of betrayal. But that wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. It started with work. My boss called me in. He looked uncomfortable. Avoided eye contact. Aaron, we've had some concerns raised. I blinked. Concerns. He tapped a folder. My name was written on the cover. There's been an anonymous email. Several, actually. He opened it. Inside, screenshots. Me and Harper. Texts. Photos. Some were cropped. Some were edited. But most were real. Too real. Someone's been sharing these across departments. HR got involved. I felt cold. The air disappeared from the room. They're saying you were having an affair with a client. That's not true, I snapped. Harper was never a client. Can you prove that? I couldn't. Not cleanly. I was put on leave pending investigation. It didn't take long before the whispers started. I was that guy. The snake. The liar. The cheater. Then came my parents. I hadn't told them about Lily. We weren't that close, but they liked her. One night my mother called. Her voice was sharp. What the hell did you do? What are you talking about? Lily called me, she said. My stomach dropped. She didn't yell. She didn't insult you. She just told us the truth. I tried to defend myself. But how do you defend the indefensible? My dad didn't even get on the phone. I knew what that meant. Then came the worst of it. One night, I got a message from an old college friend. Dude, check Reddit. Your name is on there. I opened the link. A post on a major relationship forum. Title: My fiancé cheated on me for 6 months. Here's what I did. It had thousands of upvotes. Lily hadn't used our names. But the details were unmistakable. The timeline, the quotes, the jobs, all there. She told the story in brutal, raw detail. She painted me as manipulative, narcissistic, cowardly. And maybe she wasn't wrong. But the internet doesn't care about nuance. The comments were a firing squad. He's trash. I hope she ruins his life. Cheaters deserve everything that comes to them. What a pathetic man. My inbox exploded with hate. DMs, emails, even calls. People found my LinkedIn, left comments. I lost a freelance client because of it. I lost friends, not because Lily told them to choose, but because they just did. I reached out to her. I broke. Fully. Sent an email. A real one. I wrote, I deserve what I got. But please, this is ruining my life. I can't breathe. Please stop. She replied with just one sentence. Now you know what it feels like. I sat in my apartment that night, alone. The fridge buzzed. A neighbor's TV hummed through the wall. My phone lay on the table, screen shattered from where I'd thrown it earlier. And I cried. Not because I was angry. Not even because of the consequences. But because I finally understood the depth of what I'd done. I hadn't just cheated. I had broken someone who trusted me more than anyone ever had. And now, she was breaking me back. Piece by piece. Quietly. Brilliantly. I stopped trying to fight it. I let the storm take me. I resigned from my job. Moved cities. Deleted my accounts. Changed my number. Started over. A hollow restart. But Lily wasn't done. One day, in the new city, I got a letter. Real. Handwritten. No return address. Just one sheet of paper. Her handwriting. I don't hate you anymore. That would be too easy. I just wanted you to feel something real. Because for months, I lived in silence. I questioned my worth. I broke myself trying to understand what I did wrong. And now you finally understand. It wasn't me. It was you. Always was. Goodbye, Aaron. L. That letter sits in my drawer. I read it when I start to forget. When I start telling myself I'm better now. Because that's the thing about betrayal. Even if you're forgiven, the guilt never leaves. It changes you. I still dream of her, sometimes. Not in love. But in memory. Of what I destroyed. Of what she made me pay. It's strange how silence can become your only companion. 2 years have passed, and I still wake up some mornings expecting to hear her hum from the kitchen, smell that god-awful cinnamon coffee she liked, feel her cold toes against my legs under the blanket. But all I feel now is emptiness. The kind of emptiness that isn't loud. It's quiet. Heavy. Like static that never leaves the air. After the storm she unleashed, the public humiliation, the job loss, the severed relationships, I didn't fight back. What would have been the point? I had already lost the only person who ever saw the real me and still chose to stay. Until I gave her no choice but to walk away. I live in a different city now, a sleepy town by the coast, where no one knows my name or my past. I rent a small flat above an old bookstore. The kind that smells like dust and old stories. I help the owner, Tom, an ex-professor with shaky hands and kind eyes, run the place. He doesn't ask about my past, and I never offer. It's a silent agreement between two broken men. There's something poetic about being surrounded by books, by thousands of lives that aren't mine. Lives that don't include betrayal, shame, or guilt. Sometimes I read stories where the cheater gets forgiven. Sometimes he doesn't. Either way, it never feels quite like me. Because fiction always finds a way to make things neat. My life is anything but. I tried therapy. 3 different ones. The first told me to forgive myself. The second said, your inner child is wounded. The third just listened. He was the only one I stuck with. I didn't need pity. I didn't even need advice. I just needed to say it out loud, all of it. I destroyed someone who trusted me. I don't deserve happiness. I miss her, and I don't deserve to. One day he asked me, if she forgave you tomorrow, what would you do? I sat there in silence for a long time. Then I said, I'd ask her to forgive herself first. For ever loving someone like me. I write letters to her sometimes. Not to send, just to feel close to her in a way I no longer can. I write about the weather. About the new books in the store. About a dog that waits outside the bakery every morning at 7:15 like clockwork. I tell her I still remember the way she cried when her father died. How she once fell asleep during a thunderstorm holding my hand so tight her nails left little crescents on my skin. I tell her I'm trying to be someone that younger version of me would be proud of. I write them by hand and stack them in a box under my bed. Maybe one day I'll burn them. Maybe not. One evening, months after I'd finally started breathing without pain, I received a message from an unknown number. It was short. I heard you moved. Just wanted you to know. I'm okay. I hope you are too. L. My hands trembled holding the phone. I didn't respond. Not because I didn't want to, but because I knew anything I said would be selfish. I had already taken so much from her. Her peace, her certainty, her innocence. The least I could give her now was distance. Time passed. The leaves turned, fell, returned. I learned to enjoy small things again, the warmth of tea on a cold morning, the way the bookstore creaks when it rains, the sound of waves hitting the shore. One day, Tom handed me a newspaper. Look at page 9, he said, with a glint in his eye. I opened it. It was an article about a teacher who had published her first poetry book. There was a photo. It was Lily. She looked older, softer, but brighter. Her eyes still carried the same fire, the one I once smothered with lies. She was smiling. Truly smiling. The headline read, Pain Makes Poets, Lily H. turns heartbreak into healing. I bought 5 copies. I read every word. Some poems were obviously about me. Others, about a future I was no longer part of. One line gutted me. I buried the boy who broke me, and planted flowers above his grave. I wept that night. Not because I was angry or jealous, but because she survived me. And more than that, she grew. Months later, a young woman came into the store. She was looking for Lily's book. It's for my sister, she said. She's going through a bad breakup. Says Lily's poems help her feel seen. I smiled and handed her a copy. And for the first time in years, I felt proud. Not of me, but of Lily. Of the woman I once loved and lost and hurt beyond repair. And who, despite it all, chose to heal in a way I never expected. She didn't destroy me out of cruelty. She taught me the consequences of my actions in a way no lecture ever could. Years from now, maybe we'll cross paths again. Maybe in a coffee shop. Or a bookstore. Or at the edge of a poetry reading where her name echoes off brick walls and candlelight. If that day comes, I won't ask for anything. I'll just smile and say, you made it. You really made it. And if she smiles back, that'll be enough. Final note. I cheated. I lied. I broke someone who didn't deserve to be broken. And in return, she showed me what real strength looks like. Her revenge wasn't fire or fury. It was silence, distance, growth. The kind of revenge that doesn't destroy, it transforms. She didn't ruin my life. She saved it. Not by coming back, but by leaving. The end.